From Detroit, this is the Budweiser A.P.B.A. Gold Cup. Brought to you by Champion, makers of Copper Plus, America's best spark plug.
For 69 years, the citizens of Detroit have been entertained and fascinated by Unlimiteds. Great pride is taken in the city's race history. It was the home of the man who won an unprecedented 5 consecutive Gold Cups, the sport's oldest and most prestigious trophy. The man was Gar Wood, who did it here in 1917 through 1921. But today, Chip Hanauer and the Miller American Racing Team could tie that record. He won his first in 1982 right here in Detroit by outdueling the great Dean Chenoweth and the Miss Budweiser. Now, 4 years later, we're back on the Detroit River. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Poyer. This is the 78th running of the Gold Cup and the 70th anniversary of racing here in Detroit. We have with us Chip Hanauer, Miller American. It seems appropriate, Chip, that with all the history surrounding us, that this would be the place where you might possibly tie that record.
Yeah, this is the Yankee Stadium for a boat racer. I feel today probably what a kid that grew up loving baseball feels when he makes the major leagues and steps up to home plate at Yankee Stadium.
Standing in that field for the first time. I know you wanted maybe a little choppy water to help your boat get some more air under it. Right now, it's very calm.
Yeah, we've kind of altered our opinion on that. We ran a 138 yesterday with the little motor, which is only a mile under what we ran last year with the big motor in smooth water. So I think we can adapt to smooth or rough, whatever, requires.
Are you more relaxed this year than last when you got your 4th straight?
Yeah, I think I am. The 4th straight, if I hadn't made it, I'd just been one of another guys that won 3 in a row, never 4. But so we made that hurdle, and I think the reason I'm more relaxed this year is I believe that that's going to help me give my optimal performance. I don't think being rigid is going to help me. So I'm trying to be relaxed so that it'll help my performance.
All right. Well, good luck, Chip. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
All right. It's time to go racing. So let's go now to Jim Hendrick, who has the rundown of Heat 1A.
All in all, Don, 7 boats have qualified for the Budweiser A.P.B.A. Gold Cup here in Detroit. 4 will run at Heat 1A, and here they are. It'll be George Johnson in Oh Boy Oberto, who checked in earlier this week at 109.4. Holtz Miss Madison with Ron Snyder at the wheel at 117.5. The Budweiser Piston, driven by Scott Pierce at 126.8. And the Miller American at 135.1. It's Chip Hanauer at the wheel. And that's the way they stack up at Heat 1A here. Now, Don, how about the action in Heat 1B?
Jim, we have only 3 boats in Heat 1B, but it should be a great matchup. We have 2 turbines in there. Here's the rundown, Heat 1B. First of all, the Cellular One, qualifying at 112.60 miles per hour. Todd Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana, the driver. The Miss Budweiser Turbine, the veteran Jim Cropfeld out of Cincinnati, the driver. He qualified at 121.22. And the top qualifier in Heat 1B, Steve Reynolds out of Seattle driving the Miss 711 at 132.59 miles per hour. This is the most important unlimited hydroplane race of the year. We're in a city that's rich in racing tradition. The Budweiser A.P.B.A. Gold Cup is coming up. Welcome back to Detroit. Don Poyer with Jim Hendrick. You're seeing Chip Hanauer get into the Miller American, hoping to set some history today, modern history, with a 5th straight Gold Cup. George Johnson and the Aboy Alberto, Seattle-based team heading out for Heat 1A. Scott Pierce, the Budweiser Griffin driver. Farewell kiss to his wife Jan, and away he'll be going as Chip Hanauer heading out onto this 2.5-mile course on the Detroit River. And it is a cruel river at times when the gusts come up. Ron Snyder, the Holset Miss Madison. Let's take a look at some of the drivers now. George Johnson again of the Aboy Alberto out of Seattle. Also Ron Snyder, a 2nd place finish in Miami in the Holset Miss Madison. Scotty Pierce, 3rd place finish in Miami, his first ride in the Budweiser Griffin. And Chip Hanauer, you've already heard about it. He has a big day in front of him. And as the boats come around the rooster tail turn, we have only 3 boats running. The A.P.B.A, as you saw trying to get started earlier, failed to do so, so it's on the infield. Bernie Little talking about his boat as the 3 boats now come down for the start. On the inside is the Miller American. In the middle is the Holson Miss Madison. In the back, the Bud Griffin, the Budweiser Griffin of Bernie Little's. It's a legal start as they go past the start-finish line. This is from the top of the Detroit Towers condominiums as they go into that first turn, the Belle Isle Bridge turn. There's the A.P.B.A out in the infield, and he is done for this heat anyway. The Miller American, now keep in mind, every boat will go out at least 3 times, will race in 3 preliminary heats before they go to the final. Rather, in a customary race, you would go out only twice and then the final, if indeed you have enough points. Second place now about to be taken over by the Bud Griffin and Scotty Pierce out of Seattle, with the Miller American in control as he comes into that very, very tight rooster tail turn. The crew watching. Lance Morris, the team manager out of San Diego, watching Chip Hanauer come around and head down towards the start-finish line. Ron Snyder going against the Bud Griffin, and the Bud Griffin going on the outside, very close to the start-finish line. The pier here, it's a very narrow straightaway as you see Scotty Pierce in second place going into the wide first turn. This camera about 20 floors up and just adjacent to that turn by the Whittier Hotel, where there are a lot of chop, a lot of rollers, and we'll talk about those. Past the Detroit Yacht Club is Chip Hanauer on his second lap. Average speed about 120 miles per hour as he heads down the main straightaway one more time. 2.5-mile course, 6 laps. Bernie Little wanting to pick up a second place at least here as he wants him to give chase to Chip Hanauer, the Miller American. Ron Snyder hoping to just hold on to third place, get another 225 points, and chip away at getting into that final. That is really the story here in the Gold Cup. It is a case of survival of the fittest. It's not really fast speeds in the earlier part of the day. It's a case of getting enough points, avoiding attrition, and trying to get into the final, and then the run for the gold. This man has done it successfully 4 straight years, winning his first Gold Cup in 1982 for the Atlas team, and he has won it every year since. He won it in Evansville. He won it in Tri-Cities, Washington. He won it in Seattle last year, and now he hopes to win here in Detroit. The Bud Griffin, Scotty Pierce in second place, and Ron Snyder out of Madison, Indiana. Check that, the boat is out of Madison, Indiana. He is out of Piqua, Ohio. Heat 1A as they go around the wide turn, the Belle Isle Bridge turn. A lot of chop there as the Miller American comes down the main straightaway, where the chop is really severe at times when the water comes off the cement bulkhead and goes right back into the straightaway. The Bud Griffin again going into the Belle Isle turn, right in there near the Whittier Hotel. Usually 3 basic roller areas there, and they can be huge holes, as Snyder is about to head for them right now. 3 to 4 foot rollers are not uncommon on this course at all. As you see the Miller American coming down the main chute in Heat 1A. Budweiser turbine, that boat is turning very well, cornering extremely well for Scotty Pierce. Under 7 seconds, in fact, on some of his turns, and that is outstanding for that big boat. Holson Miss Madison, Holson being the company that builds the turbos for this turbocharged Allison fuel injection machine that pilots Ron Snyder around. Ron did a great job in Miami with a second place behind the Budweiser turbine, who we'll see later. The Miller American, nothing for frustration in Miami, could not even pick up a point, but now he will pick up 400 points in Heat 1A. Miller American one step closer to winning another Gold Cup. Chip Hanauer, first place, Heat 1A, 400 points. Second place will go to Scotty Pierce out of Seattle, Washington. 300 to the Budweiser Griffin. The boat running much, much better, and we'll see more of it today. Chip Hanauer averaging about 120 miles per hour, getting the 400 points. Budweiser Griffin 300, and the Holson Miss Madison 225. Let's go down to the winner with Jim Hendrick.
Beginning of a long day, it seems.
Yeah, we got a long ways to go, but got to start at the beginning, so.
Did you work your equipment hard in this water yet?
No, not yet. There was really no need. We just kind of got a good lead right from the start, so there was no need to abuse it. As you said, it's a long day, and I don't want to use it up in the first heat.
Heat 1B of the Budweiser Gold Cup is on deck. Back on the Detroit River, the Budweiser A.P.B.A. Gold Cup, it's time to look at the drivers for Heat 1B. There are 3 of them. First of all, Todd Yarling driving the Cellular One. He is based out of Hanover, Indiana. Jim Kropfeld, winner in Miami 2 weeks ago aboard the Budweiser Turbine. And the Miss 711, the turbine-powered boat driven by Steve Reynolds. To summarize Heat 1B, the weather became worse. The water conditions very, very bad. And the winning speed was only 107 miles per hour for the 711. The Miss Cellular One failed to finish, had some engine problems, and as a matter of fact, it was a very tough time to be racing. The 711, after the frustrations in Miami, able to get a heat victory, and the Budweiser Turbine, a winner in Miami, as we said earlier, finished second place. So the points went like this. The 711 with 400 points, the Budweiser Turbine with 300, and the Cellular One. DNF did not finish. We'll return with Heat 2A right after this. Don Poyer along with Jim Henrik. Heat 2A coming up. 711 and the Miller American both with 400. And the Bud Turbine with the second place earlier in the day. Cellular One still looking for points, but it looks like they're going to have trouble with it. Looks like Todd Yarling cannot get the Cellular One started. He's right in the middle of the front straightaway, as you see. And here come the 3 turbines for the start of Heat 2A. All 3 boats easily there in time, not too early. The Bud Turbine in third place, Miller American in first, 711 on his outside hip as they go into the Belle Isle turn. A lot of air under the Miller American and the 711 right now going into that turn. Ooh, look at the air under the 711 as they go into that rocky part of the course in that area. Past the Whittier and into the turn, and it'll get a little calmer now as they come around the turn and get into the back straightaway. Chip Hanauer, who won here in 1982 in the Gold Cup, has won every year here since, even when it was not the Gold Cup. The Miller American, as you see, Chip trying to negotiate that turn. It is getting very choppy. Here comes the Bud Turbine into second place, going down the back chute. That Bud, they have tested it all week, trying to get it calmed down a little bit, a little more responsive to driver Jim Kropfeld. But the Miller American in first place, coming around the Rooster Tail turn on lap number 1. The speed for the Miller American about 117 miles per hour. Good battle for second and third between the 711 and the Bud Turbine. From atop the Detroit Towers, our camera out on top. Dave White, the cameraman, as he sees this. The 2 boats going for second and third. 711 and the Bud Turbine. Miller American in first place as they go around again that very wide turn near the Belle Isle Bridge here in Detroit. A teardrop-shaped course, a very, very tight rooster tail turn here, the second turn on this 2.5-mile course. Chip Hanauer, the national champion of 1985 in the Miller American, trying to do it again here in 1986. Steve Reynolds out of Seattle in the 711. In second place, going against Jim Kropfeld. This man, he's got a new ride. This boat won in Miami 2 weeks ago, and they're trying to tame it down just a bit. Again, keep in mind, attrition is very important on this day when all the boats go out for 3 preliminary heats before they go on to get into the final if they have enough points. Miller American first place, Heat 2A so far. Past the Whittier Hotel, there he is now going into that Belle Isle turn, and it is very, very rough. Look at the air getting under the 711. And that boat turns extremely well, but has taken quite a pounding. The Miller American, basically with 1 engine to work with here in the Gold Cup. And again, attrition is a key, but look at this boat. A lot of air under it, but it recovers so well as it comes around the tight turn and heads past the pits and down towards the main straightaway. Second place, 711. Down past the Detroit Yacht Club, the Miller American, Chip Hanauer, and the 711 is going dead in the water, losing power. 711 slowing down to a halt as Steve Reynolds got to wonder what happened to his engine now after getting 400 points in an earlier heat. The Miller American holding on to first place, a large lead now as he comes down the main straightaway again. You can see how rough it's getting. His speeds have slowed way down. He is down to 102 miles per hour after qualifying at 135. That gives you some idea of the water conditions. The Bud Turbine now coming down the back chute as he goes past the 711. Jim Kropfeld, one of the veterans, getting his 13th victory in Miami for a career in unlimited driving. But 400 points away Chip Hanauer. He has 800 for the day, and he is the winner aboard the Mid-American of Heat 2A. Second place goes to the Bud Turman. Jim Kropfeld taking it easy as he brings it across the finish line, saving that boat. He's still got one more preliminary heat and then the final. So at least two boats are in good shape for the final, the Miller American and the Bud Turban. As for the others, we don't know yet. Let's talk to Jim Kropfeld and the Bud.
That water just looks horrible out there, Jim.
Yeah, it's very rough, Don. The Whittier and coming out of that number 2 turn, God, you can't imagine how rough it is. It just takes the boat and throws it every which way.
Okay, Bernie, I know you're really concerned. We can see the white from here.
Yeah, you really can. We don't want anybody hurt out there. I don't think it's raceable water. I think you're looking at 30, 35 mile an hour winds out there. And we may just, if it gets any worse, I'd have to withdraw the boat because I'm not going to destroy it or hurt anybody. So we'll just have to keep our eye on it. We're going to make some changes on it, see if we can run a little better in this rough water.
Did you happen to see what happened to the 7-Eleven, Jim?
No, he was far enough ahead of me where I couldn't really tell. I assumed that the way he was pounding, he might have poked a hole in the sponson.
Right now, look at Chip. It looks like it's getting even rougher.
Real rough.
I noticed that there's holes down in the middle of the course. Now, that's not like the Detroit River.
No, this is as rough as I've seen it. I know that's saying a lot for the Detroit River, but it's plenty rough.
You got you down now, 2 more to go. How conservative will you be in the next heat?
We're real conservative. We've got 800 points, and that'll get us into the final. I think the important thing now is taking care of the boat.
Heat 2B is on tap in Detroit. Back in a minute. Back in Detroit, let's see what some of the drivers think of this miserable weather.
Okay, Ronnie, when did you notice the red flag?
Well, just as soon as I give the thumbs down when I went across the judges' stand down there, when I got down to the first turn again there to make my turn, I seen a ed flag down there. So
we noticed the cab overs are having a rough time. What about the conventional cab? Is it just as rough?
What do you think?
Sorry I asked. Right?
Twice as bad, maybe 3 times.
Okay, Don?
How bad is it out there?
How do you spell bad? B-A-D.
How's your backside feel right now?
Steve, I can't agree with it. I think it's great out there. We just got the wrong hole. We need a scarab.
And like we did in 1985, we brought you Mercury reports on other forms of boat racing. Here's our first report for 1986.
Choppy water, threatening skies, and thrilling blow-over accidents marked the first round of the stock outboard Mercury Challenge Series for 1986. Drivers from 11 states, coast to coast, gathered at this Orlando, Florida suburb to race for the highest 3-class purse in the long history of stock outboard closed course racing. 62 boats in 3 classes participated in a thrilling water speed show as novice drivers ran alongside those with over 30 years experience. The Mercury Challenge races, which are part of the Silver Dollar Regatta, were plagued with showers on Saturday, which cut drastically into race time. Race officials tightened up schedules, however, and were able to run the full race program, qualifying the 12 fastest boats in each class for the final event. As race day dawned on Sunday, racers, family, and friends were busy preparing the 2-heat Dash for Cash final on the 1-mile-plus course. Tension mounted as the clock ticked down and the drivers began lining up for the running starts of their heats. Steve Warnock, the 1985 national champion in the 25 Superstock Hydro class, tells us his strategy for the race start and the very important first turn.
The big key is at the starting line, being right at the starting line when the clock hits 0. And you start taking it from there. You get about 12 guys going into the first turn, and you got to watch out for them at the same time and drive your own equipment. Then after that, you start trying to work yourself up. Fortunately, if you get to the first turn first, you've got clean water, and away you go. And that clean water is worth about 3 miles an hour. So that's the real key, is try to get to the first turn first and stay legal.
Steve's strategy proved to be a good one as the 32-year-old Pewaukee, Wisconsin native took top points in the 25 Superstock Hydro class, beating out Lee Furnell of Rochester, New York. Some of the closest, most exciting racing was waged in the powerful D-Stock Hydro class. The crowd was on its feet as drivers spun around corners at 80 miles an hour in their handcrafted boats powered by Mercury Mark 55H outboards. Phil Van Sickle of Bowling, Michigan was the ultimate winner with a first and third in 2 final heats, leaving Stan Armstrong of Chinawa, Wisconsin with a hard-earned second place. The only driver to win both final heats was David DeWald of Reading, Pennsylvania in the 25 Superstock runabout class. Skimming along in a lightweight boat, David won out over 31-year racing veteran Fred Miller. Youth may have been a factor as top driver Bob Humphrey explains the greater physical stamina needed to drive these smaller, lighter boats compared to the hydro class.
Which boat is more physically demanding for you?
Definitely the runabout. I've been running runabouts for 15 years, and I started running hydroplanes 3 years ago. I'm fading out of the runabout. I'm starting to get a little tired. It beats up on your knees a lot. It's just more physically demanding. You don't see the older drivers in the smaller runabout classes.
How about a couple of days after the meeting's over, you're still feeling the effects?
I do now. I didn't feel it 10 years ago. I go home now a lot more sore.
All in all, 5 drivers from each class took home the cash, sparking tough competition for the second round of the Mercury Challenge Series. We'll keep you updated with continuing reports on stock outboard racing. Next from Dayton, Ohio, this is Steve Michael reporting.
In Heat 2B, the Budweiser Griffin, the Holson Miss Madison, and Oboyo Berto still looking for more points as we return to the Detroit River and the Budweiser A.P.B.A. Gold Cup. Summarizing Heat 2B, it was basically a pretty easy time of it for the Budweiser Griffin and Scotty Pierce out of Seattle, Washington. He held on to first place. Third place here going to the Oboyo Berto, but the Budweiser Griffin running better and better as the day went on despite the bad water. This boat, as I said earlier in the day, is beginning to turn much better. They're dialing it in better than last year, and it could be quite a factor. As Carol Hughes, who is married to Bob Hughes, the spokesman for the Holson Miss Madison, watching Ron Snyder, the veteran, hauling the old Miss Madison around the turn, a great boat. But the Budweiser Griffin and Scotty Pierce picked up the 400 points in Heat 2B as he takes another step closer to the final heat, which he will now go into for the Gold Cup here in 1986. And second place went to Ron Snyder out of Piqua, Ohio, and 300 points. So here is the rundown now for 2B, the actual results. All 3 boats getting points, including the Oboyo Berto. So let's go down to the pits with Jim Hendrick and Scott Pierce of the Bud Camp.
How to first-hand report, Scotty, about water now?
Well, I know every time we have these races, we come in and say, oh, that's the worst water I've ever been in. But I'm telling you, that's the worst water I've ever been in.
Well, this heavy boat can take it.
Yeah, we did real good running down the chute for the start. We were able to blow everyone off real easily. And yeah, we didn't have to work too hard at it. But the Budweiser's ready. It's running. I just hope the water cooperates so we can go as fast as she'll go.
One more flight of preliminary heats remaining. 3A and 3B, then the run for the gold in Detroit. Welcome back to Detroit and the 1986 Budweiser A.P.B.A. Gold Cup. The Miller American heading out onto the course. Chip Hanauer is 2 for 2. 2 first-place finishes in preliminary heats. We have 2 more to go, 3A and 3B. And you can see the chop. It really hasn't settled down very much here on the old Detroit River. A lot of water going up over the decks of these boats as they try to get it up onto a plane. Todd Yarling in the Cellular One. Look at the water coming up over the deck, threatening to put the fire out, rather. Miller American with 800 points. The Budweiser Griffin and Scott Pierce, a good day, 7-11. They need points. Cellular One likewise. So that's the setup. And already we have only 3 boats running for the start of the heat as here we go with the Budweiser on the inside. Cellular One in the middle and lane 3, the Miller American. No 7-11. There it is. Steve Reynolds evidently has lost power, but he's got it going again, and let's hope he can keep it up and at least get 4th place points if he can't catch up with the field and somehow get into that final. The Budweiser on the inside. Wow, great positioning on the part of Scotty Pierce, and he's catching a lot of air under the boat as they go into the Belle Isle turn. Keep in mind that Griffin is cornering much better than it has in the past. And look at this, the Miller American going on the outside, lane number 2. Hanauer on the outside, Scotty Pierce on the inside. Pierce holding on to his own as they now go into the tight rooster tail turn. A great cornering boat. This is the best racing we've seen today. Scotty Pierce getting out into about lane 2 or 3, trying to make Hanauer go a little bit farther. Look at the weight that setting the one is trying to go over, and again, more problems of trying to hold on for dear life as you go down this river. Todd Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana, holding on to third place. The 7-11 here, limping along. If he can finish, Steve Reynolds would get fourth place points, but boy, he's taking a beating, not going fast enough to fly over some of these waves past the Whittier Hotel, and that is really something. Now he is slowing down again, as a matter of fact, and there is your race for first, second as they go by the 7-11. Scott Pierce time and speed 116 miles per hour, likewise for the Miller American. 7-11 Reynolds not giving up, trying to keep that boat running. Again, back to 1 and 2 on the inside. Two beer boats. We got the Budweiser Griffin, and on the outside, the Miller American with Chip Hanauer trying to pick up his 5th straight Gold Cup. He's got to get points, of course, for the national points race. He has plenty to get into the final, and right now he is getting all he wants from Scotty Pierce and the Budweiser Griffin. Right there is about the smoothest part of the course, and then it gets choppy again as they head into the Rooster Tail turn, the second turn on this course. But again, the Budweiser turning extremely well and staying right with the turbine. Great job of driving by Scotty Pierce, keeping Chip Hanauer on his outside hip, down the lane straight away. Speed for the boats, 112 miles per hour. Still awfully choppy, but they've got a great race going on between the two of them. Two Seattle boys. Hanauer on the left, Pierce on the right. Fran Mutze, the owner now of the Miller American on the outside. Bernie Little owning the Budweiser Griffin on the inside as they go into the Belle Isle turn. Looks like the Miller now trying to stay outside in clear water and trying to overtake the Bud Griffin. 7-11 still struggling along and could get 169 points if Reynolds can finish. First place, the Miller American. Budweiser Griffin holding on to lane number 1, still in second place. But that boat has improved dramatically over the last couple of weeks when it raced in Miami. Todd Yarling, been a tough day for Jim Sedam and his crew, but they could get some points here. The Miller American gliding along now in first place again around that wide turn near the Belle Isle Bridge, and an area where they are renovating much of the Detroit water line, and it is going to be beautiful here in another couple of years. The Budweiser Griffin in second place. Scotty Pierce seems to have settled down and will take the 300 points here as they go along. The 7-11 still trying to get along and get around this course to get 169 points. Checkered flag waiting for Chip Hanauer. 3 straight heat victories, and now he will wait for the final heat and a chance to pick up his 5th straight Gold Cup. 400 points. Chip Hanauer out of Seattle in the Miller American. 300 points to the Budweiser Griffin and Scotty Pierce out of Seattle. So for the Miller American, a perfect day thus far. They have the big one, the run for the gold, coming up. The Budweiser Griffin in good shape as well. Both will make the final, and likewise for the 7-11. In the meantime, down to the pits with Jim Hendrick and Chip Hanauer.
Right now looks a perfect day for one Chip Hanauer, and the water has improved.
It's still rough, though.
About the back chute, you're bouncing a lot?
It's rough everywhere. You know, it's Detroit, and you get beat up.
Well, it has to be a big difference from the first race when you got no points and now having 3 straight victories.
Yeah, but the final is what counts, so we'll see.
Okay, now, business is done. You've got your 3 heats in, and now it's the final. I think you're in good shape.
Well, we feel like we're in good shape. We had a good run with Chip there, and I was able to stay with them, and hopefully we get a little more power in the boat. I mean, it's going to be tough. He's awful tough, but I feel confident I can run deck to deck with him, and I don't think he's had someone do that with him for a while.
Your cornering was excellent. You held with him. In fact, that's when you were passing him.
Well, we've made a lot of changes in the Miss Budweiser. The crew chief, Tracy Bradfold, and the guys have just done a marvelous job, and the boat's excellently prepared. She ran 3 heats, and Fall started 3 more, and, you know, the Budweiser's doing it today, I'll tell you. I just hope we can bring her home in the final.
And while the Budweiser camp is happy, Jerry Verhill, team manager of the 7-11, trying to take care of problems so that they will be ready for the final of 1986. Back in a minute.
This is the High Performance Corner, a closer look at the fastest race boats in the world.
The sport of unlimited powerboat racing getting very sophisticated. Computers have been added. The 7-11 team manager, Jerry Verhill, made his name on auto racing, but now doing a fine job with this one. Why computers? What do they do? How do you read them?
Well, we're looking at monitoring the engine and the propeller shaft speed, and we can look at the efficiency of the propeller. How do you look at them? I mean, is there a graph to something that prints out? Well, we have a graph where we can line print all the information, or we can graph print anything we want to see. In other words, the N1 speed or the exhaust temperature, we can show a graph print out of that, or we can just show it in line print.
In other words, it can tell you more than the driver.
Well, Steve does an awful lot of monitoring himself, but this makes it to where when he's actually racing, he doesn't have to pay attention to the gauges, where he can pay attention to what he should be doing.
Thank you, Jerry Verheul. Here's the lineup for A.P.B.A, headed up by the Miss Budweiser Turbine with 600 points and Jim Kropfeld. 3 boats in this particular heat. To summarize, Jim Kropfeld really aired out the Budweiser Turbine in this particular heat. In the first lap, he ran 127.9 miles per hour, almost 128, and you could sense that Kropfeld is getting closer to that final, pushing this boat as hard as he could to see how he would behave on this rough Detroit River, with the final coming up, and of course the showdown with Chip Hanauer and the Miller American. The Budweiser Turbine went on to get 400 more points, 1,000 for the day. Going into the final heat, the Budweiser Turbine with a victory. The Holset Miss Madison second place. Aboy Alberto did not finish. That's the best the boats look today, by far. You look great in the turn that we could see out here.
It was pretty good. We made some changes and raised the wing a little bit and put a small wheel on it. Kind of like I like to zing it a little bit, and that's what we were doing.
I was just going to say, it looks like you really got on it, especially the first lap, to see what it would be like for the final.
That's what I was trying to do. You know, I haven't really run any good hot laps out here in competition, so there's only one way to find out.
Happy, Bernie?
It looked pretty good. You better believe it.
All right, I want an unbiased opinion. Stan, what do you think of that Bud Turbine?
Oh, it looks great. We're going to go race them now.
That's what I say. It's time for the final of the 1986 Budweiser Gold Cup. It's next. The matter at hand is quite simple for Chip Hanauer and the Miller American team. With a victory here, they could tie a 65-year-old record. Garwood's 5 straight Gold Cups. Steve, you snap Chip's string?
I didn't go out there to lose. I mean, I'll do my best. I'll get everything there is to be had.
Good luck.
See where the chips, no pun intended, will lie.
Jim, got a chance to snap the string. What do you think?
I don't know. It's going to be tough to do. They got a good boat, and we're just finally getting ours going, and I'm not quite used to it yet, so it's going to be tough on me, I think, to go out there and try to beat heads with me right away.
Again, let's look at the drivers. Steve Reynolds out of Seattle. He is due for a victory. Ron Snyder, always steady in the Holset Miss Madison. You never know about them. Scotty Pierce and the Budweiser Griffin running very well now. Jim Kropfeld with a great shot at it, the '84 national champion. And Chip Hanauer hoping to tie history today. Looking at the rundown, the Miller American, the Budweiser Turbine, the Bud Griffin, the Miss Madison Holset, and the 711. The All-Stars are here. All 5 boats are now running for the start of the final here in the 1986 Budweiser Gold Cup. Oh, look out. It looks like the Bud Griffin ran out of room coming around the turn. Scotty Pierce still keeps it going. Look at the water churned up by all those boats going around the start. Bernie Little upset to see one of his boats back quite a ways, but here comes the start. It is a legal start, and it is Ron Snyder in first place in the Holset Miss Madison going into the Belle Isle turn. From high atop the Detroit Towers, you see the lead by Ron Snyder against the other boats, the turbine boats in second and third place as they come around. Coming up on lane number 1, it looks like it's the Miller American coming around the turn. It is Chip Hanauer and the Miller American trying to chase Garwood's Ghost, possibly winning his 5th straight Gold Cup. He won his first here in Detroit in 1982, and he is screaming down the back chute as his father, Stan Hanauer, watching from the Miller American camp. Look at the air under the boat, the water throwing the boat around as he comes around that tight rooster tail turn on lap number 1. The Miller American with the sun setting. Here's the 711 going around the same turn and heading down the main chute. The Budweiser Griffin, Scotty Pierce, fighting his way back into the pack. The Budweiser Turbine, Bernie Little again rooting on his group. And here's Ronnie Snyder in the Holson Miss Madison. The Miller American from our right turn camera as you see him come down the straightaway right into your living room. Moving into second place out in lane number 2, Kropfeld out of Cincinnati and the Budweiser Turbine. Look at this race. 2 of the veterans in this sport. Hanauer on the right, Kropfeld on the left. The 2 turbines coming down the main chute and heading towards the big turn. Speed on lap number 1, 122 miles per hour for Hanauer. But he is being pushed by Kropfeld and the Budweiser Turbine on the outside. A rooster tail lead right now for the Miller American over the Budweiser Turbine and Kropfeld. Again, the water very bad as they go around the Belle Isle turn. It usually settles down now as they go out away from the beach and go down the back stretch. They'll come up near some more choppy water now as they get near the Detroit Yacht Club. The Miller American crew watching as much as they can. They really can't see the far turn from the pits down at the Rooster Tail turn. Here comes the 7-Eleven coming up and challenging Ron Snyder. The 7-Eleven lost power momentarily, but there's your race for first and second. 2 veterans, as I said. Kropfeld on the right, a 25-year veteran, and this man, Chip Hanauer, who has been a world champion several times and has a chance of doing it maybe in '86, but right now all he's thinking about is getting that 5th straight Gold Cup. The crew got the boat ready, and right now he's in first place. Again, the difference you saw between first and second. The 7-Eleven with Steve Reynolds moving around, due for a victory. This boat, one of the best turning boats in the circuit. New sponsons, a new air intake, as you see, after the Miami problems they went through with the heat and humidity and salt water. The Miller American in first place, Chip Hanauer. Many people have tried to compare him with Gar Wood of the 1917 through 1921 reign. Kropfeld giving chase, but there's really very little resemblance between the two. Gar Wood, an industrialist in Detroit. Scotty Pierce, as you see, coming around in the Bud Griffin. Chip Hanauer, a full-time driver now, race driver, who also has a degree in special education. Steve Reynolds in the 7-Eleven. He's currently in third place. Kropfeld still pushing, really not giving Chip Hanauer any breathing room whatsoever. One slip and he's going to be in second place. The speeds are really picking up. For Hanauer, 126 miles per hour. For Kropfeld, 125. So he's staying right with Hanauer, hoping maybe that Miller American might break and he'd have a chance at winning the Gold Cup here in Detroit in 1986. Fran Muncy, now the owner of this boat. Chip Hanauer driving for Fran, and of course, the man who Chip Hanauer looks up to the most is Bill Muncy, a man who won many times, of course, here in Detroit and throughout the United States, the winningest driver ever. Hanauer still in first place, the winningest active driver in unlimited plane, hydroplane racing, going past the Detroit Yacht Club where it's always very, very choppy and very narrow as you see him come around and the skid fin digging in and the water settling down somewhat as Hanauer is riding along just fine and the team beginning to sense that maybe they can tie history and go along in the record books along with Gar Wood of the early 1900s vintage racing. Chip Hanauer in first place, second place. Jim Kropfeld airing out the Budweiser Turbine trying to catch Hanauer. Here's the Bud Griffin overtaking fourth place now. He is now in fourth, and the Halston Miss Madison dropping back to fifth. Back down the main chute again. Hanauer coming towards a right turn camera and the Belle Isle turn. The speeds, he can keep it up here as he goes around this big, broad turn. He's averaging about 124 miles per hour in that Lycoming 7 turbine engine. Likewise for the Budweiser Turbine, same engine, different kind of style boat though, configuration totally different. And again, Hanauer concentrating. He calls this the Yankee Stadium of boat racing, the Super Bowl, all molded into one when you race in Detroit. The 7-Eleven, look, it's lost its entire back wing. The support's leaning against the tailpipe. And here comes the Bud Griffin on the inside, taking over third place. The 7-Eleven going to have to limp home without any kind of stabilizer wing in the back, and he has now fallen into fourth place. But here he comes. He is going to tie Gar Wood's record. A 65-year-old record is now tied by Chip Hanauer and the Miller American, winner of the '86 Budweiser Gold Cup. Second place in a great effort on the part of Jim Kropfeld and the Bud Turbine. Let the celebration begin. Well, about 65 years ago, the same celebration took place in the same pits. Miller American, winner of 5 straight Gold Cups. Second place, Budweiser Turbine, then the Bud Griffin, the 7-Eleven, and the Hulset Miss Madison. Chip and Frank, can we get you just for a second?
This is the best win.
Lance Morris, team manager.
John,
Chip, of course. Fran Muncie, owner of the boat. John Walters, crew chief, coming in here. Chip, who is Garwood anyway?
I don't know. I never met the man, but he sure gave us something to shoot at.
It seems so appropriate that you get the 5th one here in Detroit after getting the 1st one in Detroit.
I know. I don't deserve to have a life like this. I mean, I never dreamed it could be like that. I mean, I'm speechless, and I just have nothing to do but thank all these people who just gave so much under the worst circumstances, never said die. I'm just really happy.
One race question. Were you aware your last lap was 128, Chip? You were flying out there. Congratulations.
Oh,
Franny,
Chip.
I want to talk to you too. This is incredible for you as well.
Oh, it certainly is. This is such a wonderful win. It means so much to us, and thanks to Lance Morris and John Walters, and Chip is the best driver ever. Charlie, just the whole crew.
I want to drink out of that victory cup, though.
I think in some ways that may have been one of the best races we've ever seen you drive in Unlimited, handling that boat and still able to push a boat that was going 128 on a couple laps.
Yeah, well, I ran 127.9 the lap or the heat before that, and I felt a little more confident. And I had some problems out there, but I thought, well, we got to find out if she's going to run or not. And it just takes a little courage, and I finally got enough courage up to try it.
You can relax now, Dad. Your son came through.
I can take a breath. I haven't raced since 8 o'clock this morning.
You got to be proud of him.
Oh, I am. Even if he didn't win boat races, I'd still be proud of him.
I think that's the key to your family. Success is a process, and I think you've proven it, plus the rewards of today.
Well, thank you. That's a nice tribute coming from you, too. I appreciate it.
Not since 1921 has anybody accomplished what Chip Hanauer and the Miller American team has done today, winning 5 straight Gold Cups. How long will the string go? Nobody really knows. But when it comes to the Gold Cup race itself, it seems that Chip is peerless. Next week, we go down to Madison, Indiana for the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup, and we'll have that for you next week. For Jim Hendrick, I'm Don Poyer. Thanks for joining us, and so long from Detroit.
Air travel has been provided by Continental Airlines, the official carriers of the Unlimited Racing Commission. Shoes and sports apparel have been provided for all URC officials by A.P.B.A, the high-performance athletic footwear for both men and women. This has been the 1986 Budweiser A.P.B.A Gold Cup. Brought to you by ANCO, the best wiper blade you can buy. Tests prove it.